our world. Serie, our world.
You alright?
Hi man.
All good?
Yeah, I've got a bit of a cough, so and a bit of a flu. I'm showing up for this, so yeah, take it easy though. Don't throw too many crazy results at me today.
Well, I can't promise that. And I don't know, maybe it's just a lack of Serie not on 24/7 that you're ill now. So, but
yeah, I've said to you many times before, haven't I? Like my ideal world would be to just have like 3 or 4 games every single day. That would be a dream.
yeah, might not happen like that, but we will be having some Serie action tonight. But before I go into that, I'll start with last week's results. Roma beating Genoa 3-1. Bologna beating Monza by the same score. Juve beating Milan 2-0. Atalanta getting beaten 3-2 by Napoli. Fiorentina Torino 1-0. Cagliari beating Lecce 4-1. Parma Venezia 1-0. Lazio beating Verona 3-0. Inter beating Empoli 3-1. And then to round it all off, Como beating Udinese 4-1. In the prediction fronts, the AI got 50% of the results right. I got 50% of the results right plus a score. And you got 70% of the results right.
Nice. What a result.
So there you go. Back into the higher figures.
Yeah, back in the lead.
So any of those things you want to talk about from that weekend?
Yeah, actually. So for me, especially on those predictions, yeah, it's tough doing it. But it's good to see that we can't be beaten by a machine too often, really. So yeah, because that'd be embarrassing. But it's good. I think he's done it to us 1 or 2 times, isn't it?
I mean,
but in general, we're okay.
If you think about it, I don't know about it being embarrassing, considering the AI actually goes through all this different stats and form and everything. Like we're just going off the top of our head, really. So, do you know what I mean? What we're seeing over time and things like that. So, I think we're doing well when we even as like I have drawn with it or whatever. Considering the stats it's got, but as we always say, Serie is so unpredictable anyway that the results can go from really high to really low, and so it just takes a moment, like a red card or a bad decision or anything, and the whole scores can flip around, isn't it? So nothing so simple there. But I mean, Milan showing they're still struggling. The Atalanta Napoli game was really good. Could have gone either way. And then Inter still keeping it up with the wins there as well. Fiorentina have been starting to drag a bit. So yeah, all the teams are still fighting up there at the top of the league. Well, all around the league. And then we also went into Europe.
Oh, sorry, wait 1 second.
Oh, sorry, go on.
Just thinking about Juve and Milan, right? And Atalanta and Napoli. Just some thoughts. But yeah, sorry, I didn't warn you about that. But yeah, Milan, we had the conversation about them last week that, you were saying I hold judgment on Conceição, and I was like, look what they're doing and look what they've done. Like, he's the guy, that's it, etc. But I think, yeah, that result sort of maybe proved what you said right a little bit.
No.
I thought they would be ready, they would come out and whatever, but seems there's a long road ahead. He's just joined, and then Napoli Atalanta, I mean, I did predict it would go that way in sense of Napoli to win, but yeah, Atalanta, I mean, like we were saying yesterday, everyone's favourite sort of pick if it wasn't your team to win, and even still, if you hate your team, then you probably put them first. But yeah, I'm just thinking what happens with them now. Can they, because there's that little gap now slowly performing. And I think you were about to start chatting about the table, so it's a nice little link up there. But yeah, I'm worried about maybe Atalanta dropping off there, and then just seeing who's at this point looking more likely to just take it all.
I mean, I don't know about drop. I know what you're saying. Like, there's a bit of a breakaway happening now, but I mean, as we know, Napoli do have the advantage because they haven't got Europe. But all it takes is them to lose a few games, and every other team's back in it, really, isn't they? So I think Inter are holding a slight advantage in the sense of the game in hand, which would put them equal if they win that, and that'll be against Fiorentina. So it does look more like a Napoli-Inter race, and say Napoli have got the advantage of the sense of no Europe, no nothing else, but Inter have got such a solid squad and obviously been doing this for a few seasons and stuff, so it's you'd think it would go down to the wire. Atalanta, they've still shown that they can beat anyone, and they could get. They're just short when it comes to playing Inter and Napoli, it seems. But overall, to watch them it's really good to watch them as a team. So
I think, saying they can beat anyone except the two other league contenders. I think that they've got to conquer that if they're going to do it, basically. And there's not much time left. This is just my view.
No, they haven't beaten, but they could, even when you watch the games, they could have done it. But that's not good enough, as we know. They need to be finishing them off. But it just same thing, like they could have or should have beat Real Madrid, and they were unlucky to lose that. So it's
missing out.
There's just that. It's that being clinical sometimes. I mean, as we know, Atlanta they can have games where they're scoring 5-6 goals or whatever, but then other games they're not. They're struggling a bit more to break the teams down. But I mean, I wouldn't say they're out of it now because it's 7 points to the top, but there's as we know, it's now going to get into the later half of the season, and there's still that chance. I wouldn't just rule them out, but they're starting, as you say, to fall away. But this is Napoli and Inter having quite a good pace on there, setting the pace there. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't rule most people out at the moment. Obviously, if they're bottom of the league, they're not got as much chance. But it's in the sense of Europe and relegations and everything else, it's very close throughout the table. And then I was going to go on to the European results because we had some European games. In the Champions League, as we were just saying, Atalanta, they beat Sturm Graz 5-0. Juve drew 0-0 with Club Brugge. Bologna came from behind to score 2 goals in 2 minutes, and they beat Dortmund 2-1. Inter beat Sparta Prague 1-0, and Milan beat Verona by the same scoreline. Then in the Europa, Roma lost near the end to AZ Alkmaar, and then Lazio beat Real Sociedad 3-1. So out of the 7 games, the Italian teams won 5, drew 1, and lost 1, which I still think is a good result if you looked at it like that. But overall, Roma and Juve should have been getting much more out of that, and that's disappointing from them too. And I mean, again, Milan's performance wasn't the best, and I think Inter should have been putting quite a few more away as well. So I wouldn't say I'm well happy about how the wins completely, but a win's a win, and that's how we have to have a look at it in that sense. You got any comments on those European games?
Just that Roma, as always, disappoint in Europe. Now, there's been different ownership, different managers, different players since we've been saying that, right? I don't get what it is. Is it their name or what? Because they really dropped the ball. I know they've gone far in some tournaments and won some of the minor, or won the minor one, but against a team like Alkmaar, that team on paper is great. That Roma team is great, isn't it? Like, just think of their attack firepower. Defense isn't too bad either. Goalkeeper's good. I just don't see it. I know Ranieri's not been there that long, but still, I mean, you should be able to, or I should be able to take over that team a month ago and with those players win. It's it just boggles the mind. It seems to be a pattern where they embarrass on the big European stages.
Yeah.
But other than that, not too bad. Good to see Bologna doing something.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, they won the Conference League, but it's just doesn't even feel like it anymore, really, does it?
No.
That's a distant memory now, even though a few years ago. But still, it is that thing of they should be doing better. And as I say, I think I said last week, Milan and Roma, I feel, were like on a similar level in that sense of the inconsistency and the type of team they've got and things like that.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? Like, if you look at the squads, they should be way higher. They should be winning the games that they should be winning.
Yep. So, yeah, as I say, on paper, looks good. I think in performance was not as good. And then I'll go on to the games this weekend, starting from tonight. We got Torino Cagliari. Tomorrow there's Como Atalanta, Napoli Juve and Empoli Bologna. On Sunday, Milan v Parma, Udinese v Roma, Lecce Inter, Lazio Fiore, and then on Monday, Venezia Verona and Genoa Monza. We've put our predictions in, which again, like always, I'll just put in the description, and we'll see how we get on with that. And then next week is the final games for the Champions League and Europa League phase, with Bologna going away to Sporting, Inter hosting Monaco, Atalanta going to Barca, Juve hosting Benfica, and Milan going to Dinamo Zagreb. And then in the Europa, Lazio going to Braga and Roma hosting Frankfurt. So they're all going to be playing Champions League on Wednesday at 8 o'clock, and then Europa League Thursday at 8 o'clock, because all the teams are doing the same because it's the last game of the phase. And then we'll be able to see who has automatically qualified, who is in the playoffs, and if there is any teams left, which is likely to be Bologna at the moment, but apparently they've got a thread of hope, so we'll see. But I hope they do go through. It'll be good, but we'll see. And that's it. So that'll be Europe next week, and then we'll look at the weekends coming up, and it'll be the Coppa Italia after that as well. So that'll be all next week. Regarding any stories, anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, just on those fixtures there for Serie A. I think every single day is very professional. Every single day I have a game that I'm looking forward to watching, starting from today. So reason for today's one, Torino, I'm waiting. I think every time I've seen them, they've drawn. I think the last 4 games they've drawn, and I keep backing them to break out and win, and I'm just not seeing it. So let's see, because they're at home. I'm just interested to see will they do that. And then tomorrow, obviously there's only one game that you'd really want to be talking about.
Empoli Bologna, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah,
which I still think that'll be a decent game, but I know what you're on about. I know what you're saying.
It might well be, but for me, Napoli, Juve, and because of Juve and Conte's link with his old club, he's already been saying stuff like he said today that they're gonna stop drawing and they will lose. So that's fighting talk, I think. And
Mm.
but I think they could surprise win Juventus. Actually, I think they could do it. I in the predictions I also said that. So yeah, let's see. That was going to be great, and it's a 5 o'clock game. Obviously, it's in Napoli, so sorry. That's yeah, it's going to be one to watch. And then Sunday, my pick is Milan Parma, just because I'm very interested in S.A.W. and how he'll pick up back in the league
And
and
I'm
what
sure
he's going to
didn't he
do there.
play at Parma as well.
S.A.W.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point. I'm pretty sure I remember. Lazio for sure, right? Inter for sure.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, maybe Lazio did get him from Parma, did they? No, I think he didn't go directly, did he? To Inter from Lazio, so it must be Parma in the middle.
Yeah, I'm just
sure
just
you're
double
right.
checking. No, it was Lazio, Parma, Inter, then Lazio again, and then that was it.
There you go. Yeah, some good memory of mine. Yeah, so it was Parma in the middle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. Yeah, that will be interesting, I guess. And then, yeah, I mean, Lecce Inter, I think Lecce have the ability to surprise Inter, and I think it might be a close game.
Yeah.
And then obviously the next day, and this is just a personal thing that I like. I want Venezia to stay up, basically. So yeah, I'll be checking that game on Monday, see if they can win against Verona, but it will be tough.
I mean, what made you skip over Lazio Fiore?
Nothing actually. Yeah, that's the evening game. Maybe I'd be in bed by then. I don't know. But yeah, that's going to be goals galore. And again, like Torino, Fiorentina have had awful. Well, they've just not won in a long time.
Yeah.
But we know they're capable of scoring. They've dropped off. Both them and Lazio started with the goal gluts and just scoring lots of goals.
Yeah.
But I think Fiorentina have dropped off in the sense of results.
Yeah, they have.
But
recent times.
yeah. But let's see on that one. Yeah, I'm not sure why that didn't interest me so much. I will watch it now you mention it. I mean, I'm just going to be sick all weekend anyway, and just rewatching as many games as possible. So I wouldn't rule it out. But yeah, it would be a good one, especially Lazio just came off of their nice little win in Europe.
That's it. And then, official news in the last couple of hours or so is that Roma have signed Galini.
Oh, okay.
So
do they need him?
They had I can't what's his name, Matthew Ryan, I think it was called. So they got rid of him. They never played him, didn't do nothing, and so now they've got rid of him and signed Galini instead. And then, I mean, most of the other stuff is rumours, just rumours going around at the moment. I'll say, once the window's closed anyway, we'll just update the transfers that we put in last week. And yeah, because that's not long now, so we would do that. And then, as I say, anything else you got?
No, just looking forward to these transfer announcements.
Yeah, once they're all official, we'll bring them up next week if there are any in the meantime.
I thought you were going to say the big one, the Milan today.
I don't think there's actual official news yet, is there? I know it's basically done.
Okay.
So we might as well just say it now because you've said it. But yeah, Walker is basically all through. It's not an official thing, but it's basically done. A done deal for a loan at the moment. I think it's a 1.5 year loan. Not looked too much into it.
I just want to know why. Do you know why?
Do I know why? What?
Why did they do that? Like, what was the point in that transfer?
I think, originally it's because they're going to get Man City to pay quite a bit of his wages and stuff. and then they were sending Emerson Royale to, I think it was Galatasaray, but he then got injured in the last game and he's out for a few months, so he's now not going, but the deal was already sorted with Walker. And then Calabria, I think, is on the verge of leaving for free. So I think he's just been brought in, possibly. Well, they're probably going to use him as the main guy now anyway, but he's possibly there to teach youngsters, maybe any new ones coming in, things like that. That's how I'm seeing it. I saw there's all stories of things like the Prem's lost its best right back ever and all this stuff, but I mean, it depends whose view you ask, I suppose. So yeah, I'm not as excited as some people about it, and as I explained before with the Rashford thing, it just makes no sense to me why you would get a player who's at the end of career, but it's going to cost so much in terms of wages, and maybe the fee's not going to be as much now, but it's still money that could have been or been put onto 2 or 3 people possibly in terms of wages, and I don't know, potential at least, in it. I don't know, but yeah.
But yeah, very interesting one. Not one I agree with either, but yeah, there you go. There are a couple of things also just to quickly mention, which is one, check out the Padova 115th year shirt. I think all these anniversaries, I've not seen a bad one yet from Serie, not a single one. They're all great. This one is interesting because they're only making 115.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's going to be a lucky few people to get their hands on that one.
I'm guessing they've got more than that in fans, though, haven't they?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, also just that top 8 of the Champions League. There's 3 Serie A teams in there. I think that's more than any other league of their sort of teams. Am I right in saying? I'm pretty sure I am. Yeah.
And then until they're all confirmed, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a good footing at the moment. And then also, after Lazio winning yesterday, Italy are in a race with Spain and top 2 race to get that 5th Champions League spot next year. So teams have to just keep going and keep winning, and imagine they get 5 next year.
Well, I hope so. I hope they keep doing it. And I think they should add more this year, but that's another matter. I think if it was any other league, they would have kept it like that, but we'll see. Anyway, anything else, or should I just say goodbye for now?
Just that they did there was like a annual revenue table of which teams across Europe have earned the most.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Serie were not high up in that list, but you can think of the usual names. Yeah, you can think of the usual names. I think Inter and Milan were literally next to each other. Milan just edged it with commercial sales and I think gate receipts, but also I saw a global power table, an annual table released today, and Real were top, but I was very surprised that Inter were second. So they claim that Inter have a lot of pull now, and I think that I agree with that. Imagine if you're a player and Inter have bid for you. I think Inter have a lot of pull that you might well go there right now.
They've got a very solid team. You'd have to be obviously good enough to be getting into that.
And it's not just that, they're looking at so many aspects. But yeah, I was just thinking, if you were a say the great Beppe Morata is leaving and his job is free, and there's a bunch of people looking to fill it from different clubs. Like, again, you'd love to go there, wouldn't you? Even though there's not loads of money to spend, but I guess Morata showed you don't need that.
Yeah.
To get some of the best players. But it's interesting to see Inter up there. I didn't think they would be, but quite a nice thing to see about a Serie A team.
Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, doke. Well, I hope you feel better soon, and hopefully next week you will be clear for a 5-hour session of talking of Serie.
Of course. I mean, anytime.
All right, man. I will see you next week. All right,
Cheers.
bye.
Bye.